What's up? It's your boy Amateur Pro Home Chef Nathaniel Levinson. Today we're talking about PO-TAY-TOES. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. So potatoes are tubers. Now what's the difference between a tuber and a root vegetable and a rhizome? It's subtle. But basically a root vegetable grows out of the actual root fiber of the plant. It's the part of the roots. Whereas a tuber is actually an underground stem, which is a storage for food, generally in the form of starch. So potatoes come in all sorts of different varietals, but the major distinction is between waxy potatoes and starchy potatoes. Starchy potatoes are like your russets, Yukon Golds, Idahos are all considered starchy potatoes. The exterior is a little more rough, and when they cook, they get very, very fluffy and they break down quite easily. So these are fantastic for mashed potatoes. I think they're great for French fries. Kind of anything where you want that really creamy potato texture, fluffy, that fluffiness that you associate with a really good baked potato, that's what you're gonna get from your starchy potatoes. Now your waxy potatoes, like these fingerlings, these red potatoes, they have a smoother skin on the outside and they tend to hold their shape even when they're fully cooked. So these are better for if you want to do like a home fry sort of thing, or just like larger pieces of potato, or even just doing, if they're small enough, whole potatoes roasted. These are better for that application. The texture is going to be a little bit less fluffy, a little denser, but still delicious. So these potatoes are all good, but you do need to consider which one's the best for the application you're doing. So if you're doing a mashed potato, if you're doing a French fry, then you're probably gonna wanna stick with the starchy variety, versus if you're just kind of cutting up potatoes and adding them to a dish, then waxy potatoes are gonna be your friend. And all the different varietals do have slightly different flavors. So you taste them, find the one you like. They're not expensive, so you can try a bunch of different ones. Sweet potatoes are a little bit different. So sweet potatoes and yams, which are not the same thing, these have a very, very high sugar content. And so when you cook a sweet potato up, it's very, very sweet. You don't even need to sweeten it, and you could call it dessert. So, but it is very similar type of root or tuber thing going on here. I don't think it's not quite the same. I don't want to get really, really technical, but it's not quite the same as a tuber. It's not quite the same as a root. It's a little bit different, but don't worry about that. The point is, these are all delicious, but these are kind of starch which don't taste sweet to us because our tongue can't break down those sugars. It is technically all sugar. It's all carbohydrates, but our body, this doesn't break down to sugar until it reaches your stomach. Whereas the sugars in here, when your saliva hits it, it'll actually start breaking it up, and that's when you taste the sweetness. So that's the difference, kind of the major difference between the potato, which is largely starch, and your sweet potato, which has a lot of sugars in it. So until next time, get those potatoes, boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.